What if the reason you're not manifesting what you want has nothing to do with your vision board, your affirmations, or how hard you're trying? What if I told you that right now, in this exact moment, you're broadcasting a signal into the universe that's either magnetizing your desires toward you or repelling them away? And you probably don't even realize you're doing it? Think about that for a second. Your consciousness isn't just passively observing reality unfold around you. It's actively transmitting a frequency, a vibrational signature that's literally determining which version of your life becomes real and which versions remain locked in the realm of possibility. You see, most people approach manifestation completely backwards. They're trying to pull their dreams toward them when what they really need to do is become the kind of person their dreams are naturally attracted to. There's a massive difference, and understanding this difference is what separates those who occasionally get lucky from those who become genuine manifestation magnets. Has this ever happened to you? You set a goal, you get crystal clear on what you want, you visualize it daily, maybe you even create elaborate vision boards and repeat affirmations in the mirror every morning. And yet, months pass, sometimes years pass, and you're still standing in the same place, dealing with the same challenges, living the same patterns. The frustration builds because you're doing everything the experts tell you to do, but the breakthrough never comes. Deep down, you start to wonder if maybe this whole manifestation thing just doesn't work for people like you. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Here's what nobody tells you about why traditional manifestation techniques fall short. The problem isn't with manifestation itself. The problem is that you're trying to change the station while keeping the dial in exactly the same position. You're broadcasting one frequency with your desires, while transmitting a completely different frequency with your identity. And the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover might completely change how you understand the relationship between your inner world and your outer reality. The truth is, there's a hidden mechanism at play that most manifestation teachers either don't understand or don't explain clearly enough. Your consciousness operates like a radio tower, constantly sending out a signal. And that signal isn't determined by your wishes or your goals. It's determined by your energetic identity, by who you believe you are at the deepest, most subconscious level. When there's a mismatch between what you're asking for and who you're being, the universe will always choose to reflect who you're being. Always. This is why you can want abundance while living in scarcity consciousness. You can desire love while vibrating at the frequency of unworthiness. You can dream of success while identifying as someone who struggles. And the universe will keep showing you proof of your identity, not your desires. What you're about to learn is the one mental technique that collapses this gap entirely. Now, I want to go even deeper into this because there's something happening inside your brain right now that most people have no idea about. Neuroscience has uncovered something that sounds like it belongs in a science fiction movie, but it's actually happening in your mind every single second of every single day. Your brain is running sophisticated simulations of your future constantly. We're not talking about daydreaming or casual imagination here. We're talking about actual neural activity that begins firing and responding to events before they even happen in physical reality. Scientists call this predictive coding, and the research shows that your brain can start preparing for something up to 15 seconds before it actually occurs in the external world. Think about the implications of that for a moment. Your consciousness is literally rehearsing possible futures, generating scenarios, testing outcomes, all beneath the surface of your awareness. But here's where it gets really interesting. The futures your brain simulates aren't random. They're based entirely on your current frequency, on the signal you're broadcasting right now. If you're vibrating at the frequency of lack, your brain simulates futures that confirm lack. If you're operating from a frequency of possibility and abundance, your neural system starts constructing pathways toward those realities. This is the hidden truth behind why some people seem to naturally attract opportunities, while others can't catch a break, no matter how hard they try. It's not luck, it's not privilege, it's frequency alignment happening at the neurological level. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that now. This channel delivers practical content about consciousness and reality, knowledge that actually creates real change, not just inspiration that fades by tomorrow. The real transformation begins when you understand that you have access to this control panel. You're not a passenger in your own consciousness. You can consciously shift the frequency your brain is using to generate these future simulations. And when you do that, you're essentially selecting which timeline from the quantum field of infinite possibilities gets to materialize in your physical experience. But here's the part that changes everything. The revelation that makes all the difference in your journey toward becoming a manifestation magnet. Your desires, all those things you desperately want. The relationship, the financial freedom, the recognition, the peace, they're not actually the problem. The problem is your identity. Let me be really direct about this because it's such a crucial distinction. Your subconscious mind, which is running approximately 95% of your moment-to-moment experience, has zero interest in what you consciously want. It only cares about one thing, who you are, or more precisely, who you believe you are at the deepest, most fundamental level. This is the shift that separates those who talk about manifestation from those who actually live it. When you say you want more money, but your core identity is still encoded as someone who struggles financially, someone for whom abundance always seems just out of reach, that internal identity becomes the signal your entire system organizes around. The quantum field doesn't negotiate with your wishes or debate your goals. It simply mirrors your identity back to you with perfect precision. Behind the scenes of your conscious desires, your subconscious is constantly asking, "Who am I being right now?" and then creating circumstances that match that answer. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to shift my identity." This is why true manifestation isn't about obtaining something from the outside world. It's about becoming someone new from the inside out. It's a complete internal transformation, not an external pursuit. And here's where the practical application begins, where this shifts from theory into something you can actually use tonight. There's a specific doorway that opens every single evening, a window of consciousness that most people walk right past without ever realizing what they're missing. I'm talking about those delicate moments right before you fall asleep, that twilight zone where your thoughts start to soften and drift, where the boundary between waking and dreaming begins to dissolve. Scientists have a name for this state. They call it the hypnagogic state, and during these precise minutes, something remarkable happens in your brain. Your neural activity shifts from the rapid beta waves of active thinking into slower alpha and theta frequencies. These are the same brainwave patterns found in young children when their minds absorb everything like sponges, without filters, without resistance, without that critical voice that usually guards the gates of your belief system. This is your nightly superpower, and the impact of understanding how to use it cannot be overstated. During this window, your subconscious becomes extraordinarily receptive, almost defenseless against new programming. The critical faculty that normally analyzes and judges every new piece of information, the part of your mind that says, "That's not realistic," or "That's not who I am," it relaxes completely, steps aside, and allows direct access to your core programming. Whatever you plant in this fertile soil of consciousness takes root with incredible power because your subconscious doesn't analyze whether something is real or imagined. It doesn't distinguish between actual memory and vividly imagined experience. It only registers two things: emotional intensity and sensory detail. This is the hidden mechanism behind why some people can transform their entire lives seemingly overnight, while others struggle for years. The difference isn't talent or luck. It's knowing how to access this gateway and understanding the precise formula. That makes it work. Because just relaxing before bed isn't enough. Just having pleasant thoughts as you drift off won't create the transformation you're looking for. There's a specific convergence that needs to happen, three forces that must come together simultaneously to trigger the kind of deep reprogramming that turns you into a manifestation magnet. If something shifted inside you while watching this, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps this content reach other people who are searching for exactly what you just discovered. The first force is crystal clear intention. Not vague wishes or general hopes, but laser-focused clarity about the specific reality you're stepping into. Most people fail at this stage because they know what they don't want, but they've never taken the time to define with absolute precision what they do want. The quantum field can't respond to, "I want things to be better," or "I hope something good happens." It responds to specificity, to a clear signal that says, "This is exactly who I'm becoming." The second force is emotion, and this becomes your fuel. Without emotional intensity, visualization is just daydreaming, a pleasant mental movie that evaporates the moment you open your eyes. But when you add feeling, real, visceral, embodied emotion, everything changes. This is the energetic charge that signals to your subconscious that this matters, that this is important, that this deserves attention and action. Your subconscious speaks the language of feeling, not logic. It doesn't care about your reasons or your strategic plans. It only responds to the emotional signature you're broadcasting. The third force is vivid, sensory-rich visualization, and this becomes your blueprint, the detailed script that tells your neural system exactly what reality you're constructing. When these three elements converge during that hypnagogic state, you're no longer passively hoping for a better future. You're actively programming your brain to construct a new timeline in real time. Put in the comments, "I'm accessing my gateway tonight." Now let me guide you through something that might sound abstract at first, but becomes powerfully real when you actually experience it. Picture yourself standing in what I call a quantum terminal, a dimensional junction point where infinite versions of your life exist simultaneously. This isn't fantasy or wishful thinking. This is a mental framework that leverages how your consciousness naturally navigates possibility. In this space, you see doorways, portals, each one representing a different timeline, a different version of you who made different decisions and lives in completely different circumstances. Some of these versions are struggling, caught in the same patterns you're trying to break free from. Some are comfortable but unfulfilled, living a life that's safe but not alive. And then, there's one portal that's glowing, pulsing with energy, calling to you. This is the timeline, where you're already living the reality you desire, where you've already become the person you're working to become. The impact of this visualization technique is that you're not passively hoping or desperately wishing. You're actively selecting. You see yourself walking toward that glowing portal with absolute certainty, with a deep inner knowing that this timeline belongs to you. You visualize boarding something like a quantum train, a vehicle representing your consciousness moving through layers of reality, and as this journey begins, you witness the transformation happening right now, not someday in the distant future. You see your future self with such vivid clarity that the distinction between future and present starts to dissolve. Where do you live in this reality? What does your space look like, feel like, smell like? How do you carry yourself when you walk into a room? What's the energy you radiate? Who's standing beside you? What conversations are you having? But here's the real secret, the hidden mechanism that makes this entire technique work. It's not in the visual details alone, it's in the feeling. You must feel the pride of being that person, the confidence, the deep inner peace, the quiet knowing that everything is exactly as it should be. This emotional involvement is what transforms simple mental imagery into actual neural simulation. Your brain begins treating this as a lived experience, encoding it as memory, as identity, as reality itself. And this is where I need to prepare you for something that happens during this transformation, something that can feel deeply unsettling if you don't understand what's actually occurring behind the scenes. As you start shifting your frequency, As your identity begins to recalibrate at this quantum level, your old reality doesn't just quietly fade into the background like a movie ending. It collapses. And this collapse phase is where most people panic and think they've done something terribly wrong. You might start feeling a strange inner discomfort, a restlessness that wasn't there before. People in your life might suddenly drift away, not through conflict or drama, just a natural fading. Opportunities you thought were important might dissolve right in front of you. Habits that once gave you comfort might lose their appeal entirely. Relationships that felt solid might reveal cracks you never noticed. And the journey through this phase can feel like standing in quicksand, watching everything. You knew shift and crumble beneath your feet. But here's the revelation that changes everything about how you interpret this experience. This isn't evidence that you're failing. This is evidence that you're succeeding. When you reprogram your mind with a new vibrational identity, the energetic field that was holding your previous life together begins to weaken and fragment. The universe is performing what I call a vibrational cleanup, systematically removing people, situations, and patterns that no longer match the frequency you're now broadcasting. It's not punishment. It's not a test. It's recalibration. Your old self, your old timeline, must dissolve completely to make space for the new one to fully emerge and stabilize in physical form. Write in the comments, I trust the collapse. This in-between space, this threshold you're crossing, is where the real transformation reveals itself. You're living in two frequencies simultaneously, and it creates this uncomfortable tension that most people misinterpret as evidence that something's gone terribly wrong. But I need you to understand what's actually happening behind the scenes. Your old reality hasn't completely released its grip yet, and your new reality hasn't fully solidified into physical form. It's like standing with one foot in a boat and one foot on the dock. There's this strange sensation of not quite belonging anywhere, of being suspended between two worlds that are both equally real and equally temporary. You might start noticing what I call micro-perceptual jumps. These are subtle shifts that feel like reality itself has glitched slightly. Maybe you walk into a room and something feels different even though nothing has physically changed. Or you have a clear memory of a conversation or event that others don't recall the same way. You might catch yourself responding to situations in ways that genuinely surprise you, as if someone wiser, calmer, more aligned is speaking through you without any conscious effort on your part. These aren't signs that you're losing touch with reality. These are signs that your brain is updating its operating system, synchronizing your perception with the new inner frequency you've been broadcasting. The journey through this phase requires understanding that your neural pathways are literally rewiring themselves right now. Old patterns are dissolving. New connections are forming. Your sensory filters, the way you perceive and interpret everything around. You are recalibrating to match the identity you've been rehearsing in the quantum field. This is why the world starts to feel slightly unfamiliar. Why your reactions change. Why you suddenly see opportunities you never noticed before or feel drawn to different choices than you would have made just weeks earlier. The hidden truth is that this uncomfortable phase is where most people abandon the entire transformation. They interpret the strangeness as failure, the discomfort as wrong direction, and they retreat back to the familiar patterns, even though those patterns were never serving them in the first place. But if you can stay in this space, if you can trust the recalibration that's happening, you move into something far more powerful. Because here's what determines whether your quantum leap becomes a permanent shift or just a temporary peak experience. What you do in the mundane moments afterward. True transformation doesn't happen during the meditation itself. It doesn't happen during that visualization before sleep. It happens in how you show up the next morning when no one's watching. It happens in the decisions you make when life tests whether you've actually changed or whether you were just playing pretend. This is what I call anchoring your new timeline. And it's the difference between people who talk about manifestation and people who actually live it as their everyday reality. You have to stop performing your old identity. You have to stop defaulting to the familiar reactions, the comfortable but limiting ways of being that kept you stuck in the previous frequency. Instead, you respond to every situation, every challenge, every opportunity as if you already are the person you visualized in the quantum field. This shows up in surprisingly practical ways. It's in your body language, how you stand, how you walk, the energy you carry when you enter a room. It's in your words, not just what you say, but the tone, the certainty, the quiet confidence behind it. It's in your decisions, choosing the option that aligns with your new identity, even when the old version of you would have played it safe or settled for less. Put in the comments, "I embody my new frequency." You maintain what I call silent certainty, an inner knowing that doesn't need external validation or constant reassurance. You're not anxiously checking whether it's working. You're not scanning your environment for proof or desperate for signs. You're simply being it, living it, breathing it until it becomes so natural that you forget you ever lived any other way. The quantum field doesn't respond to your desperation or your hoping. It responds to your energetic consistency, to the vibrational frequency you maintain day after day, until it's no longer something you do, but something you are. So here we are. If you're still with me right now, that tells me something important about you. You're not just here for entertainment or quick fixes. You're someone who's genuinely ready for transformation, someone who recognizes that this information found you at exactly the right moment in your journey. And if that resonates with you, I'd love to see you in the comments. Just write, "This message was meant for me." It creates a beautiful energy when we acknowledge these moments of alignment, and honestly, I read every single comment because your experiences add so much depth to what we're building here together. If something shifted inside you while watching this, if you felt that recognition, that knowing that you're on the verge of something significant, go ahead and hit that like button. It seems small, but it genuinely helps this content reach other people who are navigating their own transformation right now, searching for exactly what you just discovered. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I really encourage you to do that now. This channel is dedicated to bringing you practical, transformative content about consciousness and the hidden mechanics of reality. The kind of knowledge that actually creates real change, not just inspiration that fades by tomorrow. Every video is designed to give you tools you can use immediately, techniques that work in the real world. There's a video right here that takes this even further, diving into how to maintain your new frequency even when external circumstances try to pull you back. Click and continue with me over there. I'll see you in the next one.